Some calibers were once legends carving their names into history through war, hunting, and innovation, but over time, they've faded into obscurity. These weren't just bullets, they were symbols of power, precision, and reliability in their eras. From battlefields where they proved their worth under fire, to the rugged backcountry where they brought down big game, these cartridges earned the respect of soldiers, hunters, and marksmen alike. But as technology evolved, firearms advanced, and shooting needs changed, many of these once revered calibers slowly disappeared from the mainstream. In this video, we're uncovering the stories behind 5 legendary cartridges that were once household names in the shooting world, but today, they're rarely seen outside of private collections, vintage rifles, or dusty ammunition catalogs. Whether they were replaced by more efficient designs, became too expensive to produce, or simply fell out of fashion, these forgotten rounds still hold a fascinating place in firearm history. So let's take a deep dive into the 5 legendary calibers no one really uses anymore. Number 5.303 British, the historic workhorse. The 303 British cartridge is one of the most iconic military rounds in history, once the backbone of the British Empire's armed forces. Introduced in 1888, it was originally designed for use in the Lee Metford rifle and later made famous by the legendary Lee Enfield series. For decades, the 303 was trusted in both world wars, earning a reputation for reliability, decent stopping power, and adaptability in harsh conditions from the trenches of Europe to the jungles of Southeast Asia. What made the 303 special was its rim design and moderate recoil, making it suitable for both rapid bolt-action fire and light machine guns like the Bren. It was also widely adopted across Commonwealth nations, giving it a truly global presence. Despite its legendary status, the 303 British has faded from common use. Modern military forces moved on to smaller, faster, and more efficient cartridges like the 7.62 and ATO. Civilian interest also declined as newer calibers offered better ballistics and wider availability. Today, the 303 survives mostly in the hands of collectors, historical reenactors, and nostalgic hunters. While it may no longer dominate the battlefield or hunting grounds, its legacy as a rugged, dependable cartridge remains deeply respected. Number 4.32 Winchester Special, the forgotten lever-action round. The .32 Winchester Special was introduced in 1901 as a unique option for lever-action rifle fans looking for something with a bit more punch than the .30 Winchester, but without stepping up to the recoil of larger calibers. Designed specifically for the iconic Winchester Model 94, the .32 Special offered a balance of power and manageable recoil, making it a popular choice among deer hunters in the early to mid-20th century. What set the .32 Special apart was its compatibility with black powder handloads thanks to its slower rifling twist rate. Winchester marketed it to handloaders who still used black powder, a smart move at the time. In the field, it was known for effective short to medium range performance and a slight edge in knockdown power compared to the .30, especially with heavier bullets. Despite its solid performance, the .32 Winchester Special eventually fell into the shadows. Ammo became harder to find, and the advantages over the more popular .30 weren't enough to justify its continued use. Today, it's mostly seen in vintage rifles and classic gun collections. Still, for those who appreciate old-school lever guns, the .32 Special holds a nostalgic charm and a respected spot in firearms history. Number 3.250 Savages. The 250 Savage, also known as the 253,000 Savage, was introduced in 1915 and quickly made waves as the first American cartridge to reach a muzzle velocity of 3,000 feet per second with an 87-grain bullet. Designed by Charles Newton and released by Savage Arms for their Model 99 lever-action rifle, the 250 Savage was revolutionary for its time, combining flat shooting performance with manageable recoil. It was a dream for medium game hunters who wanted speed and accuracy without bruising shoulders. Despite its innovation, the 250 Savage eventually lost ground to newer rounds like the 243 Winchester, which offered similar velocity with more modern bullet options. The 250's performance was excellent out to medium ranges, but as hunters and shooters demanded better long-range ballistics and heavier bullet capabilities, the 250 began to fade. Today, the 250 Savage is rarely seen in the field, but it still holds a loyal niche following. Collectors and old-school hunters appreciate its historical significance and efficiency on deer-sized game. In the right hands and in the right rifle, it remains a smooth, fast, and capable cartridge that was simply ahead of its time. While it may no longer be mainstream. Number 2.348 Winchester, the big game lever-action round. The 348 Winchester is one of those powerhouse cartridges that never quite got the recognition it deserved, despite being a true beast in its day. Introduced in 1936 specifically for the Winchester Model 71 lever-action rifle, the 348 was designed to deliver serious stopping power for big game in thick brush. Think elk, moose, and even grizzly bear at close range. With a large rimmed case and bullet weights, typically ranging from 150 to 250 grains, it packed a punch few other lever-action cartridges could match. The round was ahead of its time in performance, but that came with some drawbacks. The Model 71 was an expensive rifle, and the recoil from the 348 was stout, not exactly beginner-friendly. Ammunition wasn't cheap either, and with limited rifle options chambered for it, the cartridge never went mainstream. Eventually, as bolt actions and more modern cartridges gained popularity, the 348 Winchester quietly faded into obscurity. Today, the 348 is mostly found in the hands of collectors and die-hard lever gun enthusiasts who appreciate its raw power and classic American design. It's a reminder of an era when rifles were built to last, and cartridges like the 348 Winchester were built to hit hard and never apologize for it. Number 1.405 Winchester, the powerhouse lever-action round. The 405 Winchester is a cartridge that echoes the bold, adventurous spirit of the early 20th century. Introduced in 1904 for the Winchester Model 1895 lever-action rifle, it was the most powerful American lever gun cartridge of its time. Firing a 300-grain bullet at over 2,200 feet per second, the 405 was designed for big game hunting, and it delivered. From bison and elk to dangerous game in Africa, this round earned a reputation for serious stopping power in close-range encounters. Perhaps its most famous endorsement came from President Theodore Roosevelt, who called it his medicine gun for lions during his African safari. That iconic association helped solidify the 405's legendary status, even if it was always a bit of a niche round. Despite its early popularity, the 405 Winchester eventually fell out of favor. The rise of more modern, high-velocity cartridges and the decline of lever-action rifles for dangerous game hunting pushed it to the sidelines. Today, it's a rarity kept alive by collectors, nostalgic hunters, and fans of classic Winchester rifles. Though no longer mainstream, the 405 Winchester stands as a symbol of raw, old-school power, a cartridge from a time when adventure was untamed and firepower came with a wooden stock.